Thank you all very much. It's great to be here in Lisbon, Portugal with you. I have to say that Paulo, I'm sure, played a big part in this event, but Susanna, wherever she is, Susanna, when she comes in, there was no way I could come here today. But Susanna kept on, there she is. Yes, yes.
I would like just to thanks a lot to David to be here with us. It's really an honor for our country to have for the first time such a great artist here with us. And he would like to make an introduction about his masterclass about meditation transcendental. But after, he would like more to answer your questions. After this introduction, after he would like really to answer the questions.
You don't ask, I'm not going to make any statement about anything. You just ask questions, and we'll see what happens. Yeah. Yes. Yes. I can repeat the question. You know, he can ask it without the microphone.
Olá, what is your feeling between the awake dreams and the sleeping dreams?
The one that's awake, you're awake, and the one that you're sleeping, you're sleeping. I hardly ever get ideas from sleeping dreams, but I love to daydream as a way of catching ideas. And I also love the dream logic. And cinema can say this kind of thing. Cinema, the most beautiful language, sound and picture flowing together in time, can say concrete things and it can say abstractions. And those abstractions can be a thing that can only be said in that language of cinema, and where words, fail to give that feeling and that idea. So it's a beautiful, beautiful language.
Thank you. For first, it's a real honor to be in the same room with you.
Thank you. Good to be here with you.
Very great masters. I would just like to ask you the following. With Inland Empire, you started working with digital video. Is this a start over of your career? Is film dead for you? Will you be just working with digital video from now on?
Absolutely. I love the feel of film, celluloid, but now having shot even with a low-res digital camera, I would become so sick and probably fall over and not be able to go to work if I had to make a film again with film. Heavy, huge cameras, heavy, huge equipment, heavy, huge lights, so slow. Film, you have to wait to see the dailies. Hair, tearing, watermarks, dirt. No two prints are the same. It's an ancient technology now. As good as it is, it's digital is the future. You go out on the street, everybody's shooting pictures, digital. Sound has been digital I think, more than 10 years. Picture is going this way. And it's so beautiful in my book because the little cameras I was using, 40-minute takes, automatic focus, lightweight, small lamps, smaller crew, very fast turnaround time. It's just so beautiful for the scenes, so beautiful. And as I always say, you got actors there. You're filming. Now with a small camera, I can take it, and if I feel a move, I can move. Before, you might as well be 10,000 miles away from that opportunity to move. The actors are going. You can talk to them. Start again, tender. Go deeper, deeper, deeper. Start again, go deeper, deeper, deeper. And bang, some magic that may not have ever happened is there. So fantastic. Then the amount of manipulation we have after for the image, more and more and more. More and more quality, more and more, plugins for doing whatever based on the idea.
David, how would, if someone invented the 3D projection...
Where are you?
I'm here.
Oh yeah, good.
If someone invented the 3D projection without the glasses, because there were some experience of that in the 80s, how would that change the relations of the audience with the cinema?
3D without glasses?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it would be a little bit closer to life. And it would be maybe pretty powerful. But, it's the story and the way the story is told. The story and the way the story is told. All the things are tools. You got to have the ideas, and you got to translate the ideas, in a way. You got to translate the ideas in a way. Be true to the idea, be true to your own voice. Doesn't really matter if it's 3D. It could be incredible, but it could be incredible in 16 millimeter.
Hello, sir. While I was watching Inland Empire, at the beginning, I felt that I was struggling to understand the movie.
You thought it was a what?
I was struggling to understand the movie, Inland Empire.
Its sound is funny.
Sorry. Is it better like this?
Yeah, just ask it once more.
I'll start over again.
Struggling.
Yeah, I was struggling.
Struggling to understand the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, a common occurrence.
And then I felt that it was because I was trying to make it understandable for my conscious part of the brain. And then I thought, well, I'll quit that, and I'll just let it through into my unconscious part of the brain. And suddenly it all makes sense. It was like a passive way of watching cinema, instead of an active trying to understand with the rational.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So beautiful.
What do you have to say about that?
Okay.
Are you making movies for the unconscious from now on?
Am I doing movies for what?
The unconscious.
No, if it's unconscious, you don't know it. And so, that's where, meditation comes in. Because with at least transcendental meditation, we're all on the surface of life, and we all have consciousness, but we don't all have the same amount of consciousness. The potential for the human being is infinite consciousness, enlightenment. If you take this mental technique, ancient form of meditation, you get a mantra, very specific sound, vibration, thought. Maharishi's mantra turns the awareness within. Instead of being pointed out all the time, now the awareness is pointed within, and you naturally dive. You naturally dive through subtler levels of mind, intellect, and you reach the border of intellect, and you transcend, and you experience the unbounded, infinite, eternal ocean of consciousness. Same thing, this ocean is modern science's unified field, at the base of matter and the base of mind. Modern science found it by going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into matter. Smaller and smaller and smaller particles. 4 forces became 3, 3 became 2, and then there it was. An unbounded, unmanifest field out of which everything comes. Pure, vibrant, self-referral consciousness. When you transcend, and you'll transcend from your first meditation, huge, unbelievable gift, blessing, boom, you're there. It's a field of infinite happiness, bliss they call it, infinite intelligence, infinite creativity, infinite love, infinite energy. You experience this, and the experiencing of it enlivens it, you infuse it. And whatever ball of consciousness you had at the beginning starts to expand, and all those positive qualities start to expand. And when consciousness expands, you're literally making the unconscious conscious. Now, when thoughts come up, you can catch them at a deeper level. Expand the consciousness, catch thoughts, ideas at a deeper level. Huge thing for the artist. Ocean of all knowingness. You infuse that, intuition grows. What was happening to you, and I think, in the thing, is that you just started feel thinking, not intellectualizing, but intuiting a thing. So the experience comes, you don't get, the intellect will take you only so far. You were intuiting. Now, for the artist, intuition is the #1 tool. Like I said in the press conference, if it was just intellectual, you could get it in a book. But intuition is a thing. It's more than emotion. It's more than just a gut thing. It's a kind of knowing. Knowing when something isn't correct, knowing how to make it correct. Taking in information and knowing what it is. So beautiful. So if you want more consciousness, then you start expanding consciousness and those positive qualities. The side effect is negativity starts to lift. Tension, stresses, sorrows, depression, anger, rage, need for revenge, hate, and fear start to lift away. And a lot of, like I said in the press conference, a lot of artists, they think it's very cool. I was in this boat 100%. Very cool to have some anger, have some slight melancholy, depression, have some tension, and it's, in my mind, looking back, it's a way to get chicks. And they'll come and they'll feel bad that you're a little melancholy. And then you got some anger, and they'll want to soothe that anger and make you some dinners and possibly spend the night. This is so beautiful. But real anger occupies the mind so much, poisons the artist, poisons the environment. It's different than righteous anger. Righteous anger, being strong for something or strong against something, is beautiful. But anger that just eats you, there's very little room for creativity. Depression, there's no way someone who's truly depressed can get out of bed and work. So negativity lifting is freedom for the artist. Freedom. Happiness, when you dive into the ocean of pure bliss, happiness comes from the inside. And you start being happy in your work. Leaping out of bed to get to work. Ideas flow when that negativity lifts. The conduit of creativity gets bigger and bigger. Ideas flow, intuition flows, happiness flows. Life gets better and better and better. Make your unconscious conscious. Make your unconscious more conscious. Consciousness, consciousness, consciousness. And expand that ball, and it can expand to infinite.
Sorry, David, over here.
Where are you?
This side.
Wave violently. Oh yeah, good.
I couldn't help notice that you have a ring bracelet. Is that like a belt, like when you practice karate and you have 5 levels or 6 levels?
No. This is from Vedic pundits from India. In a ceremony, they gave me this afterwards.
Is it a symbol as you progressed internally and transcendentally speaking as an artist and as a, a meditator, for
Do I what?
so to speak, is it a symbol of your level? They offer
No,
to you
it's not a symbol of anything.
No?
I mean, it's a symbol of something because I took part in this ceremony, but it's, and I like it. I love the Vedic pundits. Such beautiful souls. Such beautiful souls.
Did you learn with them even more than, practicing every day? Did you learn something more meditating-wise?
Yes, you can learn advanced techniques of meditation, and this is something that is, I've been now, today, this is maybe the 26th city I've been in the last 2 months, on the road, establishing these invincible universities in countries for students to have consciousness-based education, which means they practice this technique that opens the door to pure consciousness, enliven that, expand that, unfold their enlightenment, their full potential. Education should give the students their full potential. Education now is facts and figures, facts and figures. And schools all around the world, but especially in the United States, are hellholes. Hell, it's like hell. It's like going, instead of going to school, you go to hell in the morning after breakfast. And it's stress-ridden, violent, shootings, stabbings in some of these schools, suicides, depression, pharmaceutical drugs, illegal drugs, very little learning. And if the learning occurs, it's just facts and figures to get a job and go into another kind of stress. Huge pressure, afraid of losing your job or your car or your house or your, little children. And then you send your little children off to these schools. It's a nightmare. You give them consciousness-based education, and it works. A huge transformation. Students become happy from the inside. IQ goes up, grades go up. Why? They're experiencing this deepest level of life. And this deepest level of life, as I said earlier, it's in Vedic language, it's called Atma, the self. Know thyself. There's another thing. First, seek the kingdom of heaven which lies within, and all else will be added unto you. First, seek the kingdom of heaven. Seeking implies finding, experiencing, and you'll unfold totality. You'll unfold enlightenment. All else is added unto you. Huge potential for the human being. Unbelievable. The students, they start getting along with their fellow man. Their grades go up. They start appreciating their teacher instead of seeing him or her as an enemy. They start appreciating this thing. They take in knowledge easier and easier. Understanding grows when you expand consciousness. Appreciation grows. Self-assuredness, self-esteem. All kinds of things start happening that is just what we want. And creativity. Creativity grows. Huge things, huge successes they have.
David,
Where are you?
over here.
I don't.
Here.
Yeah, gotcha.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for all your beautiful films. You're a true inspiration.
Thank
I'd like to ask you, what is your method of communicating those abstract and personal ideas to your cast and crew, seeing as they're
How
so
do you
How do you transmit
communicate
that?
these things?
And also, what advice do you have for young filmmakers nowadays?
Okay, same advice for all time, young or old filmmakers. I always say, stay true to yourself. Stay true to the idea. And don't take no for an answer. Don't ever give away final cut. Don't ever accept a bad idea, but don't turn down a good idea. That's pretty much what you could do. And communication is such a tricky thing. An idea comes, though, and sometimes ideas come, like I said, that we fall in love with, and then you see that idea, and you hear it, and you feel it. You get the mood of it. There's the character. There's what he or she is wearing. This is how they talk. You feel the whole personality come with an idea. Then you write that thing down in words. And the words, all they have to do is when you read them later, they have to conjure that idea as completely as possible. Then you start building this thing called a script, and because ideas, at least for me, come in fragments, and the thing unfolds, and one day it's there. Then most of the rest is common sense. You want to get the right person for the part. And so you see people, and then you talk to them. I don't ever make actors read scenes. I just talk to them and look at them, and look at their eyes, and listen to them talk, and get a feel for them, and run them through mentally in the story. And someone finally passes through. Then to communicate to them, you have a rehearsal. The rehearsal could start anywhere, but you've now started at least. And it could be a million miles from what this idea is telling you. But then you go and you talk with words, and then you rehearse. Hopefully it's closer. But if it's farther, you change your words drastically, and then you rehearse, and you see it march closer and closer and closer to what that idea is that you're staying true to. And then one day, or one moment, they catch that thing, and they feel it and know it now, and it's theirs, and they're boogieing, and they can make that thing real with their talent on a deep level. As you go, there's always a little bit of a rehearsal every scene, but by then, if you rehearse this scene that most defines their character up front, they will hold that thing, and then it's just little bits of fine-tuning.
Thank you so much.
Yes?
David, the light is a very important aspect in your films. Usually you play with shadows and dark, strong colors. Doing meditation is a way for you to contact with brighter colors.
The brighter colors? Yeah, for sure. What? Yes, when you meditate, it's not so much about colors, it's about transcending, like I said. So you close your eyes, start that mantra, sitting comfortably in a chair, and, excuse me, you're there. It's just like that. It's a soft electric clarity with waves of bliss. When you come out, the world looks better. You come out refreshed. You come out packed with energy. And then, you see, how things just get better and better. But you can still understand the dark things. Stories, like I just said, stories always need contrast, highs and lows, darks and lights, all the human condition, suffering and torment, and the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful higher harmonics. But it's not just one happy line or one dark line. Stories have contrast. But the artist doesn't have to suffer to show suffering. You can be a happy camper and show all kinds of suffering. And, so have the suffering on the screen, not in your life. Understand the human condition deeper and deeper by expanding consciousness, but you don't have to suffer to show suffering.
Hi.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about the process of Inland Empire.
But you would like to ask about what?
Sorry, about the process of Inland Empire, filming, of being led by these ideas, who will lead to other ideas, and doing things scene by scene, and waiting for that unified feel to show you maybe the film in the end. So I wanted to ask you, how far in the process did you get the feeling that you were doing a unified thing? And also, looking back, how do you feel about that process, and do you see yourself going back to scripting?
I was scripting in Inland Empire. I was just scripting and then shooting. But normally, like I said, things come in fragments for me. In the case of Inland Empire, I got an idea one day for a scene, and I wrote it down. And I thought it was a standalone scene, not connected to anything. So I went out with my Sony PD-150 and shot this scene. Then a little bit later, I got an idea for another scene, which did not relate to this first scene. So I thought it was a standalone thing, and I went out with my Sony PD-150 and shot that scene. Then I got a third idea, wrote it down. It did not relate to the first two. I thought it was a standalone thing. So I went out with my Sony PD-150 and shot that scene. Then I started getting ideas that related those first three, one to another and to the things that were coming. And I say, oh, something is happening. This thing is, growing. And then I scripted, much more came in then, and I scripted that, and that made the next part of the shooting much more traditional till the end.
Hi, David. Thank you for joining us here in Portugal. I think questions are like ideas, and I had only one. Now I have a lot more, but I'm going to try to stick to one of those. How do you see the World Wide Web in general? And
How do I see what?
the World Wide Web, the internet, and how is it? What is the role it represents on your work and on the future of your work, and maybe on the future of all of us?
Yeah, I think it's so incredibly beautiful, the internet. And for a while, it was the home for short films, and today and tomorrow, home for feature films. It's everybody has their own movie theater, you could say, on the internet. The tools are in the hands of the people. Incredible things, could come. And it's the new television, the new theater. The quality's getting better and better and better. Word travels so fast. If something has got the stuff, people are going to find it. And the only problem is piracy, because that kind of makes people, they can't maybe even make their next project if they don't get some of that money back or have the opportunity to make some profit. The thrill of that, making a thing, having it be a success, that's kind of a human thing, and it's just taken away. So it's a kind of a depression, that could settle in for people, when it's just given away for free, and there's no value to things. That's the thing that if they could fix that, and the internet is the new home for pretty much everything. And if it gets better and better quality. The idea, I can always say, imagine 2001, on a telephone. It's not the same experience as 2001 on, like a 200-foot wide screen. So what I'm hoping is you can download things into a little box and pop it into another little box and squirt it on your wall with killer sound, and then you can really, go into a world. But that'll happen. People have better and better sound systems at home, bigger and bigger screens, and they can turn the lights down low, and they can go in and have an experience, a really, really deep, in another world experience. But it isn't going to happen. Some things maybe we're going to work real good on that phone, but some things just won't work that way. Just will not work there.
Hi, Mr. Lynch. Thank you so much for your work. Your work is really important for me, for my life, so I'd like to thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And have two questions. The first one is about the uncomprehension of your public. How do you deal with some of that uncomprehension? When people don't get your work, how do you deal with that?
I'll answer that one first.
Okay. I'd like to, for instance, when I was watching your last movie, Inland Empire, during that scene where Laura Dern was experiencing death with two homeless people, those homeless people were only talking rubbish, and people, but she was really dying amidst absurdity, so it's tragic in the true sense of it. But people in the audience were laughing of the rubbish the homeless were speaking. And so I would like to ask you how you deal with that, with those reactions, those strange reactions of...
I understand. That's an interesting scene. It's an absurd scene, like you said, to be trying to get to Pomona. And a story comes out of this Japanese girl tells. So people do laugh during this. They do laugh during that absurd story. But then they don't laugh, you know, just a few moments later, it turns and it goes into a kind of a beauty thing. It's like life. I say you could be laughing in the morning and crying in the afternoon. You can see the most absurd thing happen right after lunch, and something very, very serious and you know, world-shattering, you know, at 7 o'clock at night. Life is just filled with this kind of thing, and it goes like that. But it's not something you do just, you know, willy-nilly, or you know, it's ideas come. And that's the thing. I don't set out to make a thing. I get ideas, and the idea says a thing to me, and I fall in love with some of these. And when you fall in love, you think about it's focusing on that idea. Focus, they say, where the attention is, that becomes lively. So one idea or a desire for an idea, I say, is like a bait. It's like fishing. And so you got an idea, you think about it, it's like a bait, and you know, you got the bait on the hook and you lower the hook in and you're focusing on that thing, and more often than not, ideas will swim in and hook to that, and the thing will grow. And the deeper the hook goes depends on that ball of consciousness. So it kind of goes like that. But you know, when things get abstract, when 2 or 3 or 4 genres swim together, the interpretations in the audience vary. Every viewer on the surface of life, we're different. At this field of unity, we are all one. We are a world family. But on the surface, many interpretations in the abstract department. But some people come out and they're very frustrated. They just like things to be concrete. Other people love going into a world to dream and to figure things out and to come to their own conclusions. But even the concrete thinking ones, when they come out, I know they know more than what they admit. And the way I see it is when people go out after an abstraction, after some experiences in the abstract, they'll go get a drink or a cup of coffee, and the one that said they didn't understand it at all, when the other starts saying what they think it means, he or she will say, no, 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 no. And they'll start, you know, a discussion. We know more than we give ourselves credit for. We do all have intuition. And so you can come to your own conclusion, and every conclusion is valid.
I would like to pose the second question. And the second question is, you have been talking about the unconscious becoming conscious as a path to blissful life, to happiness. And what about when unconscious is unbearable? That's what happens in Mulholland Drive with the Naomi Watts character, isn't it?
Well, now I have to ask you. What do you think's happening to her? Because that's it. See, you build a film, and you try to stay true to that idea and get every element to feel correct, and work it and work it and work it, and just take care of it, and finally you get the whole to feel correct, and then it is done. That is the thing, the film, the motion picture, the cinema. Nothing should be taken away and nothing should be added. It is the thing. These days, as I say, as soon as you finish a film, people want you to turn it back into words. And the film is the thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David,
Yes.
I have a question.
Where are you? Oh, there you are. This is the Julie Cruz, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. I always feel like, oh, I don't deserve that. No. It goes through the brain like, someone comes up to you and goes, "You've changed my life forever, and you've changed my life. I can't believe it." But the only thing you hone in on is, well, I didn't like that last. What was that song all about? And that stays with you for weeks. My question is, we're all artists in this room, and to hop from genre to genre within our realm, and we think that we're going to plan on being a writer, a screenwriter, a filmmaker, a singer, an actress. When you were sitting there, I don't know the particulars, but did you plan that you were going to be a music producer?
No way.
Did that start with just words on a napkin?
Words on a napkin.
Lyrics.
In a way, yeah.
On a napkin.
Lyrics. That's a story. I always say the great Angelo Badalamenti brought me into the world of music. And Angelo brought Julie Cruz. And Julie Cruz can really sing. And Julie Cruz knows music. One thing Angelo and Julie and I had in common is we all, at one time or another, me for a very short time, played French horn. And, but I think Julie just has the greatest feel for music and love for it, and really understands it. Could talk to Angelo like crazy, but Angelo brought me into the world of music. And some of these things that happen in cinema are the same things that happen in music. Some of the things that happen in cinema are the same things that happen in painting. Cinema brings all these things together. So it's a beautiful, beautiful medium. And but it did start with Words on a Napkin, which led to Mysteries of Love, which brought us all together. And that's a beautiful thing, Julie.
Thank you, David.
Please, here.
Yes.
I think the first time you shot in Europe, it was in London Empire, in Lodz, in Poland. I'm not sure about that.
What's that?
In Lodz.
I shot in London on Elephant Man.
Ah, okay. But my answer is, can you imagine another movie in Europe European city like Lisbon, like a big Twin Peaks? And what are your criteria to choose the places to shoot your movies?
If the movie was a story about landing in an airport and driving in a van to a Masterclass, yeah, I got it, in Portugal. You gotta be in a place for a while before it starts, conjuring some feelings and ideas. We'll see. Maybe something will happen on the way back to the airport. Yes.
While you're in the process.
We got two people talking. We'll be there. No, I didn't shoot Nadja. Michael Almereda shot Nadja. Well, I produced that movie. What? It's on DVD called Nadja by Michael Almereda.
Excuse me.
Yes.
While you're in the process of seeking for transcendental enlightenment, do you ever get in touch with fear? How do you deal with fear? Do you ever control fear, or you don't control it at all?
Fear is one thing that starts lifting. Remember I said negative things start lifting away. I think fear doesn't go until supreme enlightenment. And a fear of death is probably the last fear that goes. There's fear all over. Huge fears. But the thing does start lifting. The thing does start lifting. Fear gets less and less. And it just happens that way.
Antes de mais, boa tarde a todos os presentes. And now up to us.
Where are you?
I'm here.
Wave your hand. Oh, yeah, I see it.
I have many questions, but I'll only do one. My question is, what made you thought that it could work? That your work will triumph in the cinema movies and will, how can I say it? You had Elephant Man, and
yes.
It was acclaimed by all critics, and it was a huge breakthrough, and everyone could understand it. You didn't have to go to the subconscious of your life to understand it. And when you make a TV series like Twin Peaks, that is a series when at first sight everyone looks like normal people, but then you start seeing and everyone got their little troubles and little things and start to look like lunatics. And when you do that for primetime TV, in national TV, where everyone's expecting to see like a Dallas series or another season from Dallas series, and you make it to all audience, what made you thought that it could work? That your work and your vision will work? Because when I see a movie for like 500 people in this room, we have 500 different opinions about one movie. It's the same movie, but everyone that see the movie got different opinion about it. And what made you thought that it could work? That all of us will see it and want more and more, like we're all going to see your movies. What made you thought that your vision could work in the cinema movies? Thank you.
What is the question?
It's what make you think that your vision would work?
The idea comes. Ideas come, but once in a while an idea comes that you fall in love with. And like I said, you see that idea and you feel it and you hear it, you experience it, just like on a screen in your mind. There it is. And if you fall in love with that idea, the idea already works. The idea already works. Now you got to translate it to cinema, stay true to it, and get all the elements to feel correct. And when they feel correct to you, the director, filmmaker, you hope they feel that correct to others. So you're doing the thing, you're just translating ideas and translating that feel of the idea, the sound of that idea, the visual of that idea, the fast and slow of that idea, like that. And then you hope it feels correct to others.
Hi. Here.
Yeah.
First, congratulations for Inland Empire, that I think it's your best film.
Which one is that?
Inland Empire. It's almost
Thanks.
equal to a great American novel. My question is, in your movie, you put a serious number of psychological, philosophical and sociological questions, like that's on the streets, life and death, and the value of life for some people, and to others. Do you think it's up to us, all artists and people with some kind of vision of life, to change something in the world that could make the wheel keeps moving and change the education issue that you talk? Just like George Steiner said in Carlos Gulbenkian's foundation in Lisbon a few weeks ago, that European and American education, it's in the lousy level ever.
Is the what? Lousiest level. Yeah. I think cinema is pretty powerful, but and some people say their lives are changed, in some ways by cinema, some ways by a story, some ways by a character, some way by an idea. They're thrilling. It inspires them. It's an influence. But the real change is on the deepest level of life. If you want to really get, help the world, help yourself, enliven that deepest level, it's all there. And like I say, transcendental meditation is just like a car, like a vehicle to open the door to that level. That unified field does everything for the human being. And education, it changes these kids' lives. It is like intelligence starts growing, creativity starts growing, inner happiness starts growing, energy comes up. All these things, and you see them like glowing in consciousness. Before, they're kind of gray. They're suffering. They're not learning anything. Now it's a different story because they experience the big self. They experience the home of everything. They experience something so natural and for the human being. Unbelievable. And peace. It's a field of dynamic peace, not a sleepy peace. It's a field for the world. It can do what it does for an individual. For a world in a peace-creating group. A group doing advanced techniques, enlivening this field of unity so powerfully that it can bring coherence, harmony, happiness, peace to the atmosphere, to collective consciousness, to the environment. It destroys negativity just by its nature. Like they say, sunlight removes darkness. This light of unity removes negativity. Real peace is not just the absence of war. Real peace is the absence of negativity, the seeds of war. Want to change the world to a world of peace, dynamic peace, creative peace, happy, energetic peace, dynamic peace, enliven this thing. Now we're about ready to head out to the fields right now and raise a flag for an invincible Portuguese university. And any one of you are welcome to come out. We're going to try to get a band to play the Portuguese national anthem and raise the flag and start a university with consciousness-based education. There's a formula, square root of 1% of a population, 10.5 million Portuguese. You only need 350 peace-creating experts in this university. Students unfolding their own enlightenment, students doing their meditation as a group twice a day, and you don't have to believe it. You could say, this Lynch guy is nuts. But let's try this crazy thing anyway. After all, it's the unified field, the Lagrangian of the superstring, and maybe there's something to it. Try it, and let's see what happens. Very short time after it's set up, you'll see the results. You can try it. You can't try it now. Very soon. Very soon. One last question.
Excuse me, up here.
Wave your hand if you would. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for coming to Portugal. I'm a big fan of yours.
Thanks.
What I wanted to know is, back in the 90s, there wasn't too many contemporary shows, and I'm pretty sure Twin Peaks was one of the most. Were there any commercial aspects that you had to fight against that the network tried to input on your show?
No. It was unbelievable. Twin Peaks, there were a few words that they weren't really there. It wasn't so obvious that they'd be words that they were upset about, but there were a few words they wanted changed, and that was it. None of us could really believe. I saw Twin Peaks as like a film, and it was done in so much freedom. It was pretty incredible for a network television, and I don't know quite how it happened. Thank you all very, very, very much.